I want to speak about vulnerability because I feel that it's not really expressed very often. In fact, most people are always constantly lying and they're never telling the truth about how they really feel about something. There's no honesty, there's no reality. I mean, in fact, speaking about reality, there's not really a great distinction between where you are and where you think you are. You know, you're always creating this second identity. There's this image. There's always this image of who you are and where you place yourself, and actually the true version of who you are right now in this moment. And that is a constantly evolving version of yourself. The one that you're in right now is constantly changing and adapting. It's never constant. What is constant, what is left behind, is sort of these images. And for example, you have a statue that is set in stone and it's left behind. You have images like photographs in a book. Those are set in stone. They are left in. They're a stamp left in time of a previous era, of a previous moment. Films, books, songs even. There's endless amounts of these things which are sort of set. And we like to do that. We create these fixed moments that create an image of who we are, even though, as I said, that's always evolving. I've been listening to a great philosopher who constantly challenges my ideals and thoughts about life. Alan Watts, of course. And there's a few others I've been hearing about, but he's the one that has been so strongly impacting my beliefs and thoughts about life. And he talks about this art of Zen all the time. And the Zen is about being, I think, in a place of complete neutrality, where you don't have to feel like you have to do anything more than be exactly existing in this moment, and that's it. There should be a gratification for that, and yet there isn't any. There's always something going on. It's never it never no one ever stops to actually literally smell the flowers, as the phrase goes. Everything's constantly moving and constantly evolving. And I don't know, in some ways, what's the best approach to valuing everything that we can see in life. Because value is a very strange, to me, it's kind of a concept, because the only thing that creates value is us. We choose what gives us value and what doesn't. Yeah, I find value in things. I mean, I find value in simply just trying to. I'm, I'm a human too. I'm still trying to always become the best version of myself, I guess. And sometimes that's challenging, because sometimes you have to go through these low points that you don't enjoy. There are you feel like you're a complete failure. You might feel shame. And I suppose I'm always constantly on the search for the answers for these questions that float in the mind about being more independent, being self-sufficient, being this and that and the other. And actually, we quite rely on one another. without having each other, we're not really able to achieve a lot of things. It's funny, we talk about the system, but I think the system is actually a collection of pretty much everyone that you can think of, or anyone that has previously existed, or anyone who exists right now. And actually every living thing is part of a system. You can call it ecosystem, but sometimes people call it the system of bureaucracy and etc. But without that system, we don't really have the power to evolve as one, you know. We're already, if we always continue to go on our own, it's the journey's a lot tougher. The only thing I can think of is a story from my time, that when I did previous traveling adventures with my bike, when I did them on my own compared to when I had a friend by my side or a group of friends, it's a very different dynamic. One is you're having to problem solve and do all these tasks on your own, and it's easier on one hand, but it's harder on the other. You know, you might have to watch yourself at night more often and feel more anxious compared to when there's two of you. You don't have to think about, I don't know, there's less fear and anxiety because you have each other.
It's okay. It's okay.
But on the flip side, you become one. So you then have to make decisions as a team. You can't just make it as an individual. Otherwise, you just become a dictator in what you want to do. And you don't listen to others. I was traveling a lot, and I really felt like this is where I want to be. I want to be on my bike. I want to be like having loads of different experiences, meeting all these different people, but mainly actually out of those experiences, I loved the changing of the landscapes and the environment that I went through. I love the contrast between like dry and arid and desert, and going to a lush tropical rainforest. You know, how could two states of being be on the same playing field is bizarre to me, and I love that, and I love the color of it all. It's just magnificent sometimes. I mean, Earth is so colorful, nature's stunning. It's just, the thing I haven't looked into is the wildlife, which I definitely underappreciate. I think I should appreciate that more, because it's part of that nature system. And then actually in turn we are part of that. We evolved and came out of what is natural, and we're trying to define who we are as a species and what the difference is between us and them all the time. Is there a difference? That's the funny thing with like philosophy in general, is that everything contradicts one another. I can say one thing, but then you can say another thing that can completely destroy the argument. And that's the thing, is that there's never an absolute finite pinnacle climax, the end. There is none of that. It is a constantly evolving story that keeps on going and going and going. It's like a mountain that you just keep on climbing up and down and over, and then it turns into a mountain range, and then it turns into a sea. Whoa, this is different. You know, it's not you climb the mountain, end of story. And it's funny is that most stories we tell always have an ending, a sort of finale to tie it all together. But to me, it's more like you've got peaks on. If you look at I'm not sure what the word is. Like you've got like an audio wave or a seismic graph or something like that, and it's picking up. It's got one playing field, and then it creates these peaks and troughs, right? And when you go up the peak, you then go down the trough eventually. So it's a never-ending story, I guess you could say. And I think that applies to human existence, our stories, our lives. There's never a finishing point, even at death. Is there a finishing point? Because the body is still there. So if you've made it this far into the video, thank you so much for listening to this. This is an extraction, actually, from a podcast that I regularly record kind of as a self-journaling to myself. And I don't really share them. If you're interested to hear the whole thing, let me know. But this is what I think about when we're on the trail, when we're out there in nature. And with Martin, my friend, and I, we were hiking on the GR10, and it's a very well-known path actually in the Pyrenees, not far from Andorra, and it was beautiful. We just spent a few days there and filmed on the new phone that I got, which is incredible. I've actually edited, filmed, and even recorded everything you're listening to from this new phone, the Samsung S10, which is amazing. And I actually made another documentary with another friend of mine, Pierre, the Cathode Trail. Please have a look at that if you like this kind of content that has so much effort and love poured into it. And this is just a more easygoing, simple version. So I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe for more content, and I hope to see you in another video.